Hi guys, and welcome back. Before we get going, as usual, I just want to say a quick thank you to the patrons of the channel. Your contributions are very much appreciated, and it's always good to hear from you as well. And a reminder, as always, I am not a professional mechanic. Please do not copy what I do without seeking professional advice first. That's very, very important because people keep on writing to me saying I've copied something I did, it didn't work, what am I going to do about it? Well, I tell you, I'm going to do nothing. I'm not a professional mechanic. Please seek professional advice before carrying out any work on your car. Now, for today's video, we're going to be looking at restoration of the speakers, and straight away I can hear most of you saying, what an idiot. Why the hell would you bother restoring speakers? Well, there's lots of different reasons, and I do have a list of them. Now, some of them won't apply to some of us because as we get older, our hearing changes, and in my case, I feel like I'm going deaf sometimes. But with that hearing change, you don't notice some of the subtle changes in the sound coming from your sound system. Now, just a quick rundown of the list of reasons I put down very, very quickly for restoring the original speakers rather than buying replacements. And there are plenty of replacements on the market. So first of all, believe it or not, it's actually quicker to restore a speaker than it is to buy a replacement. Now you might think, well, that's ridiculous. Of course it's not. You go on eBay, you order a speaker. Well, it's going to take you 10 minutes plus on eBay to first of all locate the right speakers. And then of course they turn up and then you discover, oh my God, the holes are in the wrong places. So now you've got to drill holes. And then another quick one. These were a couple of aftermarket speakers that people have fitted to their cars. You'll see here the terminals for the electrical connections are all in the wrong place and the wrong type. So now you've got to start cutting your wiring loom. You've got to add additional wiring, new plugs, and of course there'll be the usual electrical tape and cable ties and all the rest of it, making a real mess of what should be a nice tidy job. Then of course, again, we're very, very privileged if we own one of these cars. They're getting extremely rare now. They're going up in value quite dramatically, and the more original your car is, the more value it's going to have. So changing to aftermarket speakers is going to lower the value of the car. Then we've got, what else have we got? A mismatch. Speakers in this car, as with all cars, have been specifically matched to the sound system that's fitted to the car. That means the resistance of the speakers, the wattage of the speakers, the overall size, cone diameter, etc, etc, etc. Now, if you change to speakers that are the wrong resistance for the car, you risk damaging the hi-fi. You don't want to do that. If you put in the wrong wattage speakers, they will work, but they're going to put a heavier load on the amplifier. And again, over time, you risk damage to your hi-fi or reducing the long life of the hi-fi. Then we've got the screw holes. Screw holes for our speakers are in very specific places. A lot of the aftermarket ones have the screw holes in the wrong places, and you've got to start drilling additional holes to make them fit. And I've also seen people fit speakers that are just that fraction too big. So again, they're cutting away the plastics around to get the speakers to fit. It looks dreadful. Yes, you can still hear the sound. Yes, there is a big door card that goes over the top to make it all look good. But generally speaking, it's not a pretty sight. Damage to the radio, yeah, we've got it all. And money. The big one, people are going to say, costs a fortune to repair a speaker. Believe it or not, it's going to cost less to repair the speaker than it is in postage alone just to get replacement speakers. So now we need to look at why you would want to restore them in the first place. Now, I should think just about every single person out there with one of these cars already knows the problem I'm going to talk about, because I should think all of them by now have the same problem. Now, a good speaker will have a nice solid surround around here, completely undamaged and looking very nice. But what you actually find is they look like this. all of the foam surround is all breaking up and decaying, and it makes a sound absolutely terrible. And when you see that, you think, well, that's it. That's end of life for these speakers. And until recently, it was end of life. Mitsubishi discontinued the speakers, and we were left with no option whatsoever but to buy aftermarket ones. And if you're considering it important that you get the right speakers, you would have spent a lot of time trying to find something that fits nicely. And there are some good ones on the market, don't get me wrong, but they're not perfectly matched to the sound system. They work, yes, they give a good sound, but they're not perfectly matched. Now, I was shocked when I bought my first car because the sound inside the car was absolutely fantastic, and what shocked me even more was when I took the car apart, the speakers out, because they were starting to sound bad. I discovered they're only 15 watt speakers, 15 watts, and yet they gave a fantastic sound, and that is mostly because they're perfectly matched to the hi-fi. And I'm not sure you're going to get quite the same sound if you've got good ears as you would with the original 15 watt speakers. So today what we're going to look at is repairing them, and this came to me completely by accident. I used to replace them like everyone else until one day I was in Hong Kong, and I was in an area called Kowloon and walking down one of these very busy marketplaces, and at the end of the road I discovered this little tiny hi-fi shop that was selling, believe it or not, the rubber surrounds for the speakers. I was blown away. They sold the coils, they sold the paper cone, they sold everything. And that then led me on to thinking, why am I buying new speakers when for next to nothing I can get new surrounds and fit them? And they are easy to fit, and that's what we're going to look at today. Now, the surrounds come in two versions now. One is the original foam that this was before it all broke up. It would have looked like that. And although you can't see it, this is a rubber version. They will both fit, they'll both do the same job, they'll both sound as good. It's entirely up to you what you want to do. I was originally getting the rubber ones, now I've found a supplier for the foam ones. I'm using the foam ones just to keep it as original as possible. Now the good thing is you don't have to go to Hong Kong to get these parts. In recent times I've discovered that there are now many suppliers on eBay, local shops, that sort of thing, that can sell these to you very cheap. Some sell them with the glue, some you have to buy the glue extra, but either way it's going to cost you less than £10 to repair two speakers. £10, including postage. Why would you go out and buy a new set of speakers? So give me a minute and we'll look at the tools and then get on with the job. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're going to need. First of all, decide which speakers you're doing, the front or back. The surrounds for repairing them are available for both. Decide whether you want the original foam or whether you want rubber. Makes no difference, it's personal choice. I guess there's a chance a rubber might last longer, but we won't know that for 10, 20, 30 years. Most of us will be gone by then, so it won't matter. So, order yourself the new surrounds. You're going to need a pair of scissors. The reason you're going to need those is because the surrounds are not built specifically for these speakers. They give a little bit of extra around the edge for different models of 6.5 inch speaker, so you may need some scissors just to trim them slightly to fit them in properly. Then you're going to need some glue. As I said, there's different types of glue that do exactly the same job. Some of these come with the glues, some don't. I've recently tried this black rubber glue, which is very good. I quite liked it. The most recent set that I bought came with a different type of glue, which I haven't tried. It'll obviously do the job because it was supplied for the job. Hopefully it will do the job. But today I've got a little bit of this black rubber left, so I'm going to be using this. I should say that this type of glue, either type, has got a very short shelf life once you open it. So I would recommend that you do all of the speakers at the same time. Prep the whole lot, open your glue, do the job, and then you can dispose of whatever's left because it's not likely to last any amount of time. Excuse me. If you choose to use the rubber glue, you're also going to need a suitable bottle to put the glue into in order to deliver it onto the speakers. This actually comes with this type of glue. You're going to need a marker pin just to mark around the edge if you need to trim it for your speakers. Different suppliers may have different sizes, I don't know. You're going to need a blade of some sort. Doesn't have to be a blade, you could use a flathead screwdriver or something similar. A trim tool of some sort may help. You'll see what for in a minute, and you can decide which type of trim tool you want to use. And then finally, one of these soft scouring pads that'll help you to clean up the area without doing any damage. And that's about it for parts. Let's get on with the job. So for the first part of the job, it's preparation. Preparation is everything, leads to a good finish at the end. So your speaker, when you take it out your car, if you're lucky, you're still going to have this in place. I really struggled to find a single car this morning that still had this mesh in the front to protect from dust and stuff. People have obviously taken the car apart and just taken that off and not bothered putting it back on. So, because of age, these are no longer glued down tight. You just literally pull them off. All the glue bonding's gone. The same goes for the oval one. Come off really, really easy. We'll move on to this in a minute. You can see where all the foam is completely deteriorated. Now we're going to be lifting up this cone. Now the one thing you don't want to do is pull it straight out. Just lift the edge slightly to do what you need to do. On the back of here is still the old foam all breaking off. You can see that all falling onto the table here. And we've got the old foam around the edge here. Now what you can do to start off with is just try gently scraping off the worst of it. Most of it is just falling off easily with age. And that's all you need to take off, all of the loose stuff with this, and then we'll finish it off with the abrasive pad. And we'll go around there. As I say, you can use a screwdriver or whatever you like to get that off. Don't overdo it. You don't want to take off the protective coating, although it looks like most of it has already started breaking down now, and we're starting to get rust deposits building up. So that's that. Then move on to your abrasive pad. That's going to get your surface quite cleaned up and smooth. You don't want the glue being put onto anything loose, because then it will just come straight off again. Make sure it's nice and smooth there. Remember, any bond with glue is only as strong as the surface that you're bonding to. If you've still got debris on here, the debris will just pull away regardless of how much glue. And then finally, on the back of the cardboard cone, this will come off really, really easily. Just gently work your way around, trying hard not to pull the cone too much or crease the cone. You don't want to crease it at all. All feels good. We can turn it over. We can look in here now and see it's all nice and clean and smooth. So that's that bit done. Now, because I'm planning on sticking this back on, I'm just going to give a quick rub around there as well. And that's it. That's all we've got to do for the preparation. For the speaker, the final part is the foam trim. Now, I previously cut one of these this morning. Your black marker pen, if you measure the distance there to there, work out the distance on your foam, draw a line around the edge, and then use your scissors to trim the foam to get it to the right size. Now, I need to find the one that I previously cut because I can't be bothered to cut another one today. So just give me a second and we'll try and find where that's gone. So I found the rubber surround or foam I'm going to use for this one. And the first thing we need to do is get it positioned on the speaker. Now this is quite a simple process. You just slip it underneath the cardboard cone, gently work your way around, allowing the foam to stretch bit by bit, and it drops under nicely centered like that. Now we've got to prepare the glue. Now, as I say, I'm using the black one, which is a very, very thick glue. We'll put it into this little pot, which is a dispenser that allows us to dispense just the right amount. And I did actually open this one the other day. I'm hoping it's still usable. It's very, very thick, but it actually has a benefit when it's thick, which you'll see in a minute. Now, the amount I've already put in there is more than enough for this job. However, it makes it difficult to dispense when you've only got a small amount in there. So I'm going to pour a bit more than I actually need. This is going to go dry very, very quickly, so I need to get the lid on those as quick as I can. Now, before I start the gluing process, I just want to show you something, because I've noticed with people who do gaskets, liquid gaskets and stuff, or even gluing in general, they tend to put on way more than you need. And to give a demonstration, I've got a couple of pieces of glass here so you can see what happens when you put on more than you need. Now this is pretty thick, so we've got to wait for it to run down. It'll take a short while. Oh, come on. It's like waiting for glue to dry. Come on, down you go. Okay, hopefully that's enough. Now all I'm going to put is a tiny little spot, hopefully. Come on, down you come. Oh my goodness. There we go. Just tiny little dot, and you see what happens when I put the glass on top. It spreads out into a huge area. Now if you start putting huge amounts of glue around here, all you're going to do is end up with a huge mess. So the point I'm trying to make is just run the thinnest speed you can. Now we're going to start off with this trim tool, and we're going to gently lift the edge, and I think I might need some glasses for this. Just a thin bead of glue, and make sure it's a continuous bead. Hold on, I'm going to need some glasses. Oh, the age is getting to me. Now I've got to get back under there. Lift that back up and continue with the same bead.
Turn the speaker at the same time for you?
Yeah, if you could. more glue is definitely not better. Just need that nice thin bead. Oh, nearly round. Oh yeah. That's it. I'll put the lid on there and we'll get another one out of that. Now we're going to centre up the surround and the centre cone. Get it as central as you can, and once it's centred the best you can get it, you're going to get fingers underneath and push up on the rubber from behind so that the card and the rubber squish into each other. Just as I showed you on the glass, you're going to be doing a similar thing with this. Now it's not going to dry immediately. What I'm trying to do is get glue onto both sides of the mating surfaces. Just by pressing them together, it's going to cause the glue to squish onto both surfaces. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just leave that for 1, maybe 2 minutes, just to let the glue cure very slightly. And then that will allow it to go tacky enough to pull into position. So, just give me a minute or two. While I'm off camera, every now and then I'm just going to check to see if that is still sliding or whether it's starting to go tacky, and as soon as it's tacky I'll come back to you. So this has now gone nice and tacky, very very strong bond. So I'm just finally going to go through it one more time with fingers behind and fingers on the front, just to make sure that seals completely all the way around, as central and as neatly as possible. Now because the glue's gone tacky, it should allow a final bond to be permanent. It's just about getting it as neat and as even as you can all the way around. That all looks pretty darn good to me. How does that look to you on camera? Yep. Nice and even bond. We don't have glue spilling out everywhere. All looks really really good. In fact, that looks as good as new. So then we flip it over. The final bit left to do, of course, is the outside edge. And we're going to do exactly the same process. I'm going to put some more glue in this bottle, I think, because it's taking a long while to go down and it's not going to make another job, so I'm going to just put the remainder in that bottle. So if you give me a minute, I'll just top this up a bit and then we'll do the final bits of the job. Okay guys, same process as before. We'll get a trim tool under the edge here, get the lid off our glue, and we're going to run that thin bead around the edge again. Now this is a contact adhesive, so same as before, I'm quickly going to cover both edges, make sure there's a good thin coat on each side of the two pieces. And now I'm going to leave it for a minute just to allow it to go off slightly, and then it'll all stick down nicely. Okay, I'll be back with you shortly. There we go guys, it's been left about 2 minutes now, so hopefully this will stick down and stay down on beautifully. Don't be tempted to run your finger around because you're going to be left with a bubble at the end. So just gently work your way around, pressing as you go. Some of the little corners you can use your trim tool to get in. Make sure there's no air bubbles. I'll tell you what, I'm going to come back to that in a second because there's one more bit we can be doing to save some time, and that of course is the cover. I was going to say quickly run a bead around that, but with this glue there might not be such a thing as quick. Come on. Let's see if we can get this on. This stuff, by the way, if you end up getting the same black glue as this and you need to clean out the bottle, you can use regular paint thinners. It cleans out the bottle really easily. Come on. But it seemed like a really good idea. I should have left the bottle upside down, shouldn't I? Back to that same old problem of live video. I'm gonna leave that for a second upside down while I just quickly, I don't want this glue to go too hard because then we won't get it to bond at all. We won't get it to bond nice and flat, I should say. So I'll finish working that down. Right, please tell me you're down now. There we go. Just a nice little bead around there.
No, you're running out.
Yeah. Now this one is less critical because it doesn't have a particular sound function. We just don't want it to come loose and vibrate or anything like that. Go on, all the way around. Come on, come on, come on. Don't you dare run out. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to stick this on and then I'm going to take it back off again just so I get both surfaces covered. Just give that 30 seconds.
Got a bit of dust around it.
Yeah. There we go. I can assure you, because I've done a number of these now, I can assure you that that speaker is going to sound as good as the original one when it was put in the day the car was manufactured. I'm really pleased that we can now restore these. It's an important part of the car, and for those of you that are like me that love sound in the car, it's good to have it all back to original factory spec again. So I hope this video has been of use to you. The process for the oval one is exactly the same, and these surrounds are easily available for the oval speakers that are in the back of the car. It looks like a damn near perfect factory job there. So give it a go. It's going to cost you less than £10, $13 for doing a pair of speakers, including the glue and your postage. Well worth doing. Give it a go yourself. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you'll make use of it. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you like the video, and you can click on the bell for getting automatic updates every time there's a new video uploaded. And there's plenty planned for this year. So thanks again for the patrons, and I'll see you in the next video.